All right, folks, so it says here that according to the balancemoney.com, the average small business owner's salary was $63,560 per year back in August of 2022. And the salary actually ranged from about $30,000 to $146,000 per year, according to PayScale. So that is very, very, very important to understand and remember throughout the rest of this video, because small businesses are, according to the results here, the data, the surveys, inflation may force 2 in 3 small businesses to close in 2022. That's nearly 66%, okay? And so what this means is that not only if you are a small business owner, odds are you're probably lower income to middle income or middle class, potentially upper middle class, but ultimately things are not looking out or not looking too good moving forward, with 2/3 of potential businesses expecting to close. And this was in 2022. I'm sure that the numbers are probably going to be slightly higher for 2023, but we're seeing a lot going on out there in the market. We're seeing a lot going on in the retail space. We're seeing a lot going on with theft, high amounts of crime, and a variety of other factors that are having a negative influence and impact on businesses and their ability to stay open. And it says that these averages here, being a small business owner doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to ultimately, immediately, or even eventually ever make a lot of money. A lot of money can be relative depending on your particular circumstances and your living situation and the quality of life or expenses that you carry. But I would say that for most people, a lot of money would probably be upwards of $150,000 plus annual salary per person, single income per year, assuming you don't live in like LA or New York or Miami or something like that, or maybe even like Nashville, Tennessee, or Atlanta, Georgia, because their downtown areas are booming and prices are going up just for basic living expenses. The average small business owner's salary was $63,560 per year in August 2022. $63,560 per year. So if we do the math and we break that down, that is $5,296 a month. If we break it down per month, or if we wanted to break it down per week, that's $1,222.31 a week. So if you're not making that, at least that, then you are below the average of a small business owner. Please comment down below if you are a small business owner, considering becoming a small business owner, or were at some point a business owner, and can contest to these figures here. And it says that many people assume that being the boss means a flexible schedule and the ability to work from home whenever you want. But unfortunately, it's not entirely the case. Now, granted, you guys can see that I'm sitting here at the pool, and I'm bringing you guys this video. And one of the businesses that I operate is, in fact, a YouTube channel, as well as YouTube coaching and YouTube consulting services, as well as a variety of other businesses that I have, as well as other passive income streams through affiliate marketing, paid sponsorships. The list goes on and on. I got a few websites that I'm working on, and I'm just trying to continuously diversify my income. Diversity, security, and cash flow, folks. So 65% of small businesses say it's very likely or likely they'll permanently close if inflation continues at its current rate. And the most recent report from the Fed, they did back down on their interest rate hike. We're at 25 basis points increased. We got some folks on Wall Street that are taking the recent news and running with it, but Jerome Powell's putting his foot down, and he wants job loss. And job loss also impacts small business owners, and it also includes small business owners, because basically they would be able bodies, people capable of working, and if they're out of work, they count towards the unemployment numbers. The prospect of a recession has 95% of small business owners very or somewhat concerned, and rightfully so, in my opinion, especially if your business is a brick and mortar and it's relying heavily on labor and or multiple inputs from the supply chain. I would definitely have some serious concerns, especially if we were to see a recession. So folks, just to break it down for you, in case you're new or you haven't heard on previous videos, which, you know, guys, please subscribe to the channel, give the video a like. I really would appreciate it. It helps out a lot with reach and the algorithm. And turn on your notifications so you can get alerts when I upload and publish new videos. But my opinion is that everyone should have a backup plan and a multiple, or at least a secondary income stream. Ultimately working towards a passive income stream, but more importantly, just a secondary income stream, a backup, a safety net, and then working on developing multiple income streams and building from there. It's funny because it's interesting to see all these deposits continuously adding up, some of which I don't even really notice anymore, but they come in and of various amounts, and at the end of the day, at the end of the week, at the end of the month, and at the end of the year, the numbers add up, folks. It's a big deal. And the sooner the better, because I actually replied to an email to somebody who contacted me and asking me about creating a channel, and they said that they were thinking about it since last year. And I reminded them, or at least I informed them, that I'm actually coming up on my channel's 1-year anniversary on February 9th. So all I said was basically get started. The sooner you start with any investment, whether it's financial or time, or, you know, an investment in a business or whatever it may be, the sooner you start, the better. And, you know, in just 1 year, you can see that my channel has grown, you know, in my opinion, considerably. I'm looking to increase that growth exponentially moving forward, but it's interesting how business works. And if you have a successful business and a successful business model and you're continuously working on it, then your growth should not necessarily be linear. It can be, it can have somewhat of a parabolic effect on that growth chart. Businesses that are in danger of closing are more likely to have already been impacted by declines in revenue and customers' pandemic-related shutdowns and supply chain issues. And they're still continuing. Like, we're not out of the woods yet, which is why I love what I do now, because it's literally dependent upon my tech, which I have diversity in my tech, whether it is this GoPro that I'm recording on, whether it's my Samsung Galaxy S20 FE, whether it's my Sony ZV-1. Most of these are linked in the description if you guys want to get, you know, to know what equipment I'm using, and internet, and having the ability to upload content. So besides that, I mean, life is occurring every single day. So it's almost like I just have to pick and choose what I want to discuss next on the next video. But I don't necessarily have to rely on raw goods or materials or inventory or even like customers that much to make this business work. Now, granted, this business isn't for everyone, just like I'm not involved in every other business. You have to pick and choose what's right for you. But knowing that we're seeing the likelihood of fear and expectation of businesses likely to close at such high percentages of 65, 66%, 2 out of 3, I would definitely be, as a business owner and an employee for any business, small business or large business, I would definitely be making sure I had a viable backup plan and had a strategy to prepare in case of some sort of interruption to my income. 38% of small businesses facing closure plan to lay off employees to stay afloat. And so I can link this down below so you guys can see. But basically, you know, it's just that, you know, if the businesses are struggling, if the business owners are struggling, then ultimately at some point the employees are going to feel it too. So I don't want anybody to get any ideas that they're immune to this. The best that you could be would be insulated, which we've discussed previously. And that's going to come into play with your income and your expenses and your spending and your budgeting and your debt, how much money you're wasting on interest payments, as well as savings and investments. Most importantly, investments that can produce dividends and returns that ultimately are passive income producing opportunities. And folks, if you haven't gotten set up with your Moo account yet, there's a link in the description, and you get your free stocks too while you're at it. And if you want to go over some investing for beginners, just comment down below, let me know. But it says here, look at this chart, I want you guys to see this. Half of businesses likely to close, suffering from declining customers and shutdowns. Okay, we've already seen it, you know, big companies hitting the news, but like Bed Bath & Beyond, and even some like FedEx actually just hit the news the other day. They're got more furloughs coming, more layoffs. But at the end of the day, we got to realize that there is a decline. Inflation is affecting some, and these businesses, especially the big ones, are hitting the headlines, are suffering. Party City was another one. But think about how many won't hit the headlines. You see what I'm saying? Think about how big a role small business plays in the U.S. economy and in people's ability to earn income, earn a paycheck, earn a wage to maintain a certain standard of living. Think about that. The biggest indicator of whether a small business can weather inflation appears to be how it's already been affected by the other economic issues of the last 2 years. Very, very challenging for many. And you know, if they haven't handled it well, then you're going, it's almost like stepping up to the plate as a baseball player, and instead of having an empty count, you're literally stepping up to the plate with 2 strikes. It's not good. So job reports show increase of 517,000 in January, crushing estimates as unemployment rate hits 53-year low. So this, to me, says here that the January job report showed non-farm payrolls increased by 517,000, far higher than the 187,000 market estimate. And this is what Jerome Powell was so upset about, as people are ignoring what the Fed is actually doing to fight inflation. But it's really odd because we're seeing and we're hearing about jobs coming on, but also about jobs being lost, layoffs, etc., etc. And I think we'd have to really sit down and calculate the numbers and do the math, because they don't necessarily go hand in hand. So we're gonna see layoffs, and we're gonna see hiring, plain and simple, you know. But do we see an equal amount, you know? And it's definitely gonna affect people differently depending on what end of the stick that they're on. Non-farm payrolls increased by 517,000 for January, above the Dow Jones estimate of 187,000 and December's gain of 260,000, according to a Labor Department report. And you can see that growth across a multitude of sectors is what's attributing to that. You know, and this is amid inflation, where at a time where more middle-class Americans are struggling to make ends meet. Okay, folks? Nearly 3/4 or 72% of middle-income families say their earnings are falling behind the cost of living, which is up from 68% a year ago. And this is according to a separate report by Primerica, based on a survey of households with incomes between $30,000 and $100,000. A similar share of 74% said they are unable to save for their future, and that's up from 66% a year ago. And this ties into the video I posted a few weeks ago, where basically folks are seeing their savings wiped out. They have no retirement, they have no retirement planning, they have no safety net, they have no emergency funds. They have, you know, they have been victims of this rough economic cycle, this economic crisis, which, you know, is the economic wipeout that I've been talking about for months, that has been targeting these lower income, middle class, working class families that were barely getting by as it was. And then you add in inflation and everything on top of that, shaky job market depending on the sector and your role, store closures, layoffs, the list goes on and on. Then you got union strikes that affect people's income. You have fires. If anybody has worked at a chicken plant or egg plant or anything like petroleum plant or anything like that, and there's a fire and then they can't go back to work, you know, vicious snowstorms over the winter where people weren't able to go to work. These all have an impact on income. And it says that these are households between 30,000 and 100,000. So this is a wide majority of those small business owners as well, based on those income figures that we discussed earlier in the video. And it basically says here that the middle class is shrinking, folks. So it's shrinking because they're just getting swallowed up whole. They're getting wiped out. Now granted, easier said than done, make more money. Or maybe it's not, because apparently for some people, if you complain about it enough, maybe you'll make more money. Because it says here that Marjorie Taylor Greene is whining that her congressional salary is too low. And you guys may have seen this, may have not seen this already, but Marjorie Taylor Greene said that she's complaining about how little she was getting paid as a member of Congress, claiming that her low congressional salary had made her life miserable, as she made a lot more money before stepping into the public service sector. Members of the House of Representatives earn a salary of $174,000 a year. Additionally, the House was in session for 164 days last year, meaning that Marjorie Taylor Greene was required to work less than half the calendar year and still made a pretty substantial income. Now, what do you guys think about that? Comment down below if you'd like to make $174,000 and only have to work, 6 months or less. But odds are, even she won't necessarily get an increase, because that's a set number. But at the end of the day, if you have the opportunity, you have the ability, I say go make more money. If you have the opportunity, you have the ability, spend less. If you can. Odds are that's going to be harder to do now with inflation and pending recession and things like that. Everything's going up across the board. Food costs are going up, fuel costs are going up, rent prices are going up, mortgage rates are coming down, so that's a plus. So maybe we are potentially getting closer to a point in time where we will see some form of, we're currently in this disinflation period, which is what Jerome Powell was talking about, but we're not quite to the deflation yet. But maybe we're getting closer to deflation. Maybe if Wall Street starts paying more attention to what he's talking about and listening and doing what he's asked or what he's demanded. But even still, for that to happen, we're looking at 2 million jobs lost. We're looking at 5.25%, 5.5% unemployment rates, and we're looking at a lot of small businesses going under, a lot of small business owners just being wiped out, losing their life savings, and putting themselves in these precarious situations of poverty and huge amounts of debt, stress, taking a toll on their mental health, and a variety of other factors that could possibly potentially damage relationships, end marriages, tear families apart. But with that being said, if you can, try to go make more money, try to make additional money, try to increase your income, try to spend less than you make, try to budget, try to eliminate high interest debt so more of your money can be used for these things instead of going towards interest payments, and then try to save as much as you can and try to invest for some returns. Now granted, we got a lot of trains of thought out there on the future of the economy, the country, the world, what the plans are from the World Economic Forum, possible invasions from China and Russia, and EMP strikes, nuclear war, the list goes on and on. But at the end of the day, all you can do with any of them is plan and prepare for, in my opinion, worst case scenario. And then remember that best case scenario is if none of these ever happen, then you're better prepared for it. So if you guys want to know more, if you need help, you need any information, you want any tips, tricks, strategies, starters, pointers, or anything, just getting started for a beginner, you guys can contact me, hit me up. I'm on Patreon, links in the description. I can show you guys what I do and how I do it and how it makes me money. And like I said, the sooner you start, the better. I appreciate you guys watching. Please give this video a like, subscribe to the channel. Please be kind to everybody, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye.